Before I start yapping about this week's video, I wanted to just take a brief moment to say thank you. I do appreciate everybody who took time out of their day to not only watch the last video, but helped and contribute to getting that video over 1,000 views. I honestly never thought I was going to have a video go over 1,000 views, but to see that Clevates of all videos made it to 1,000, I love how the algorithm works. And I really do appreciate every guys' support, not just in that video, but throughout this entire journey. And a video hitting 1,000 views for me is a big milestone. It's the first one that I've had. Hopefully it's not the last, but if it is, so be it. So again, thank you. Thank you to everybody who contributed to supporting that video. Now with that thanks in order, it is time to get into this week's video. Deadbeat anime dads. Ging from Hunter x Hunter, Dario Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and in some aspects, freaking Goku. All of these men have one thing in common. They just disappear at the most inopportune times to raise their children. But none of these guys are my favorite deadbeat dad. That spot belongs to somebody with zero cursed energy, is built like a Dorito, and is the father of so-called potential man. My favorite deadbeat dad in anime is Toji Fushiguro. He is a man who was rejected by his clan since the day he was born. He's a man who absolutely trained to be the peak of human condition, who has traps the size of my head. And he is ultimately the man that led Suguru Geto to be the way he was. He drove that man to his near breaking point. I truly believe that Geto's strong hatred for people with zero cursed energy has to come from the trauma that freaking Toji Fushiguro left on that man. Or at least he plays, a decent part of it. I adore Toji as an antagonist in the Hidden Inventory arc. I adore Toji's brief cameo in the Shibuya incident. And based on the amount of screen time that he has, he is one of the most impactful characters in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, I love Toji because of one fact, and that is because, again, he is a deadbeat, but he has aura. And I hate using that word because I honestly can't take anybody seriously when they say that. But it's true. Toji Fushiguro is the type of antagonist that no matter how overpowered you are, he's bound to humble you, and he does. He humbles both Gojo and Geto in the Hidden Inventory arc. And now, this isn't a lore video, but when I say that Gojo is the strongest in Jujutsu Kaisen, he is. He is the strongest, aside from Sukuna and the fact that he had to have Mami Maharaga bail him out several times in the manga. But Toji absolutely flattens both Gojo and Geto. And he was smart about it because the way that he went about running down Gojo to his very last nerve and then having to take Geto on individually afterwards was pretty good planning on his part. And despite ultimately taking the L at the end of the Hidden Inventory arc, Toji goes out in just the most Toji way possible. And in his one good moment of being a father, well, it's not his only good moment of being a father, he tells Gojo to take care of potential man. At least in his own way, because he blatantly tells Gojo, hey, my kid, he's going to be sold off by the Zenins pretty soon. Do with that information what you will. He didn't have to do that, but despite me calling him a deadbeat dad at the beginning of the video, he does care about Megumi in his own way. Megumi, I believe, is his only sense of pride that's really left from his time as a Zenin. He knows that his son has potential, and he wants him to live out a pretty okay life away from the clan that shuns him. The fact that Toji was born into one of the 3 elite clans of Jujutsu Kaisen without any sort of cursed energy made him the black sheep from the very moment that he was born. Now, he has his heavenly restriction to make up for that, and for those who are unaware, a heavenly restriction in Jujutsu Kaisen just means that you're Superman without the Man of Steel portion. You've got heightened strength, you got heightened speed, it's like a glass cannon. But Toji makes up for it in his cunning, in his speed, in his strength, and the fact, again, that he's built like a Dorito. And not only did I enjoy seeing him in the Hidden Inventory arc, I enjoyed the fact that they brought him back for the Shibuya incident. Because when we see Toji in the Shibuya incident, we see him as Toji Senin. Now that means that he is at his peak. Peak physical performance, peak cunning, and absolutely peak Dorito form. We see Toji make absolute mincemeat of Dagon. That big ol' octopus thing that just absolutely beats the shit out of Maki, whatever the Zenin clan's name leader's dude is, and Nanami. 3 pretty much special grade sorcerers versus Dagon couldn't really do a whole lot. Well, and Megumi was there, wasn't he? But that's not the point. Toji takes care of it instantly. I really enjoyed seeing that fight, and I really enjoyed seeing him go toe-to-toe with Megumi right after that. In his possessed state of whatever you want to call it from when he was revived, he understood that Megumi was pretty much the highest threat at the time. Because he knew that at any moment Megumi could get bailed out by Maharaga because it's the only thing that kid can do. But in the midst of absolutely decimating Megumi, not recognizing that that's his own child, he gets this little moment of, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure that I know you. And this scene will forever live in my head rent-free because of how it just resonated with me. How much I appreciated Toji's character in that moment. And at the time, I was reading Jujutsu Kaisen. Season 2 hadn't come out, the scene hadn't been animated. But when Toji asks Megumi, hey, what's your name? And when Megumi responds, it's Fushiguro, Toji's last words to his own son are, with a smile on his face, it's not Zenin, huh? And then he proceeds to stab himself and says, I'm glad. And that moment to me solidified why Toji Fushiguro was my favorite deadbeat dad in all of anime. Because at both the end of his fight with Gojo, where all he's worrying about is the safety of his son, at the end of his fight with Megumi, he can rest in peace knowing that his son is no longer a Zenin. I'm really glad that we got Toji Fushiguro in the story that we did. I'm really glad that we got Toji before Gege decided to kind of throw character storytelling out of the window, but that's a gripe for a different day. For now, if there's anything else that I can leave off at the end of this video, it's that Toji Fushiguro is not only my favorite deadbeat dad, but he might be my favorite character in Jujutsu Kaisen. That's a lie though, it's Yuta. But now it's time to let me know what you guys think. Do you like Toji? If not, who's your favorite character in Jujutsu Kaisen? Mine is Yuta, it honestly is, and I'll do a character video on Yuta later on. I mean, he's my profile picture, for God's sakes. But I wanted to talk about Toji this month because 1, it's Halloween time, and 2, I hadn't done a villain antagonist video yet. And I have totally been meaning to do a Toji video for as long as I've had this channel. Right now also felt like the correct time to do so because if there's one thing that I want people to know about me, it's who my favorite characters are. And there's been 10 new subscribers since the Clevatez video, so welcome, and here's a little something about me. But now with all that out of the way, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, please feel free to drop me a like, share the video, comment, or subscribe. This has been Soggy Taco, certified Toji Glazer, and I will see you guys in the very near future for another video. Hasta luego.